Hi there, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to start sanding this body. This is the Surfer Girl guitar for the Old Soul Kevin project. Kevin from the band Playcenter out of Atlanta, Georgia, friends of ours we played a show with, and now we're working together to build this guitar. So you can see this light poplar body. I think it's poplar, I don't know for sure, and it's nice. Has a nice grain pattern on it. This is the rear. See that? And then in the front. Looks really good. I think it, hopefully, I don't know much about staining poplar, but I did look it up. And I saw furniture guys doing it, and they didn't mention anything about being a tough wood. Some woods don't take stain that well. So this would be a good experiment to see how well poplar takes Wudtone stain. I'm hoping for the best. You can see that I have my fingers crossed, but I'm wearing these thick gloves. I didn't want to get a bunch of hand oils and garbage all over this body and then have to sand that off. Okay, so the basic technique. This body looks pretty good. I don't think Kevin did anything with it, but they sent it out pretty well sanded. I mean, that's why I don't want to do too much with it. I don't want to scratch it up. And you don't want to take the stain down too far with Wudtone. They recommend finishing at 220, which is not way down, you know. Not even 320. It's like 220. You want to keep the pores open, I guess. You don't want to brush it down. So, might do a little 120, but I might just start with 220 and just finish it. And the main way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use this wooden block, this maple wood block, as a sander, a level sander. So I usually take the paper like this. I'll cut a piece, put it in the middle, and just kind of hold the sides. Move this out of the way so I don't get any dust on it. But essentially, the idea, my new fender box, I don't want to get dust in that. Alright, so the idea is to take this, right? I'm going to go with the grain. Okay, the grain's going this way on the front. So once you know which, if you go against the grain, you get scratches, or more likely to scratch. Okay, so I'm not gonna sand in this little dip here, you know, the contour for the arm, just the flat spots. I'm just gonna go straight across. I'm gonna lift up before I get to the edge, because I like to kind of. This has like a little definition of an edge on it. I don't know if you can tell. It's kind of carved out a little bit, and I don't want to lose that. So we're going to be careful with our sanding. See that? I don't know if you can tell. But I don't want to lose that edge. So I'll show you what I do when I get to those edges. So right now, and then I'm going to go on the other side. Same idea. There. Now, obviously I'm going to do more of it outside. I don't want to create too much of a sanding mess in here. And then when you get to this point, as far as these little pieces go, as far as the edges go, like I said, I don't want to lose that definition. So what I'm going to do is I'll take the paper, take these gloves off, and I would typically use a smaller paper, but I'm just going to use the edge of this. So see what I'm doing here? In front of the edge, I'm going to hold it down like this. So here's the edge I don't want to mess up. I'm going to put my finger about right here away from that edge, and then I'm going to sand it and go up. See that way? That way I didn't go over the top and kind of kill that nice little edge there. See? And then the same thing on the sides. If I'm holding the guitar in my hand, or the guitar body, I'm going to look for the grain. So it's going this way. And that's the way I'm going to sand. And so here I'm just going to take the paper like this. That kind of thing. Same thing here. Let's see which way the grain's going here. This way as well. you never know because the pieces are joined together and different pieces are used, and one could be going one way. More than likely they matched up the grain patterns. Who knows? It's nice. It's really nice. And the same thing with the contours with the grain. Same thing here. Nice and easy. No sense in hurrying, no sense in rushing, and definitely no sense in over sanding. So I'm going to spend the rest of the day, next hour or so, sanding. I'll take it to 220. This is 220. I might start with a little 120, but it looks pretty good. I don't want to sand it too much because I want it to accept the stain well. And I think if you get it sanded down too far, it's not as porous. You know, you've kind of sealed the wood a little bit, and stain can't soak in as well. So you got to be careful. Sanding is important. So anyway, there we go. Kevin's project. And what's awesome is that when I get done, I can just hang it up on here, and I don't have to worry about it falling off. I'll put a little tie or something around the front, some kind of cap, but as you can see, it doesn't push off easily. And that way it's suspended, doesn't touch anything. I can do front, back, and sides unencumbered. Don't have to worry about clamping and any of that stuff. Don't have to put anything here in the neck. Now most guitars don't have this massive hole in the neck pocket, but they did it for this reason, but you don't always find that. So I guess you could always drill that yourself. You know, you could route it like that. But most guys, what they'll do is they'll attach a kind of like a piece of wood, like a paddle, to the neck, and then put it in something that's stable that you can hang it up in, like a I've seen those things where it's like a stand and it has like a big hole sticking out of it, and you stick the neck in that, and the guitar is just kind of suspended. You know, bunch of different ways you could do it. But I'm excited because this makes it really easy for me. That was the only thing that was making me nervous, was like the figuring out a way to secure the wood. So anyway, here we go. Thank you. Hi there, welcome back to the channel. So what I've been doing is sanding, and it actually needed a decent amount of sanding, and I'll tell you why. My black limba body didn't need much finish sanding because the wood is really dense and hard, and I think Toby had done most of that, you know, so it was just a little finishing stuff to my liking and smoothing things, and you know, just a little this and that. I was very careful and slow. This, on the other hand, needed some sanding. And what would happen is I started with 220 and I realized that was nowhere near enough. And so I went back to 120, and I just went across, you know, straight. And then I took the paper and went into the contours, and I went on the sides like this. I would go here and just up and over, up and over, up and over. And then same thing here. And then this. And then on the edges to preserve my edges. And I think I'm looking at, yeah, no scratches. Preserved all my stuff. See how we didn't lose any of this like nice definition on the edge, like right around the horn. Still had that like border on there on both sides. Didn't mess that up anyway. And so everything's looking good. Now what I would find is I would sand with 120 here. I mean like this. Then I would do 220. And then when I would look, there'd be raised burrs all along here. And I was outside in the sun so I could really see it. And then I'd just go back to the 120, back to the 220, still raised burrs, 120, 220. And now as you can see, it's nice and smooth. There's no hairs standing up on it, no fuzz, no debris, you know. I like the way the Brits call debris. So now, after this, and that's as far as I'm going to take it. I'm not going to sand it any further because it looks good. And you don't want to go much further, much lower than 220 for that first coat of Wudtone. And for the highlight, you want it to kind of go into the pores and to latch onto the grain, not be so smooth that it's just kind of smearing over the top. So the sanding is important to stop at 220. All right, so now I'm going to knock down the grain with the denatured alcohol. And the way that works is I'm just going to open it like so, and then you can see I'm just going to going to pour it onto the body liberally. You really want it to, don't want to be spilling it everywhere, but you want it to liberally cover the body with alcohol. And then you just wipe it down. And so this cleans any nasty oils and dust and debris that has accumulated over the sanding process. And it also raises the grain. So anything that should have been sanded off will now be revealed. And then we can knock it down with a little bit of Scotch-Brite or steel wool. I like using steel wool. It just feels like it is the right tool for the job. It has the right surface feeling. So this is like a clean job. And it starts to make the guitar look, and it's really soaking it up. Let's see if it's lifting anything. Let's see if you can see. I think I did a pretty good job because not much is popping up. You usually feel it right across here. See? It's not big enough. Okay, so I'm going to just keep kind of cleaning it with the alcohol. Get in the grooves, all the contours. Now, once I get it to that phase, I knock it down just in case. I don't see any. Yeah, that did a nice job. I don't see any, like, a lot of grain buildup. So I'm going to just take the steel wool, go with the grain, just knock anything down, and actually I'm going to go across the grain. That'll actually knock things down better. Against the grain, cross, 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 cross. Because this won't leave any scratches, just get rid of just any debris, anything that shouldn't be there so that it doesn't get trapped in the stain. And so that the guitar looks nice and smooth for the player. Alright, now I'm going to just wipe it down again to make sure that we got rid of all that. Anything that's left over from the steel wool. And it's drying really fast. So that leads me to believe the wood is really porous. So it'll be interesting to see how it takes color. That's kind of the next test. Because it does seem porous. Like when you put the alcohol in it, it sucks it up pretty fast. It looks nice. It's kind of like what it would look like with a grain finish, I mean a natural finish. But I think we knocked down the grain successfully. I don't see any bad stuff lingering. This is where I was seeing it, right here. It looks good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just let it sit here and dry. And then start doing the wet tone stain. Okay, I'm seeing a spot right here. It's the same spot. Let's see if you can tell. Right there. So I'm going to go work on that a little bit. Be right back. Thank you.